say, this is a long, long time ago, A and B Sound days.
Yeah.
But he used to say, I work with you, I don't want to hang around with you.
Totally. I can appreciate that. I love all my coworkers, but there's some people I would choose to invite to a dinner party and hang out after work, and there's a lot that I wouldn't, and not a slag on them, which is how I choose to spend my time.
And which is the most valuable thing,
yeah,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'll open it up to the floor. Do any of you guys have any questions? This is a tremendous opportunity.
Just a curiosity about the transparency.
Yeah.
You get the 4-month notice for the girl.
Yeah.
That first of all, I think this is the level that I think that HR needs to do. But just a curiosity, do you formalize by paper this 4 months or just?
No, we didn't. She didn't ask for it. I mean, if she asked for it on paper, I would have had to write something, or I probably would have avoided writing something because it was kind of a moving situation. And she did actually say to me, I think it was like we checked base just before she got this job and she was getting stressed. And she did say to me, well, kind of push back on the 4 months. And I was, I was actually planning to stay to September, like the rule kind of was longer before. And I said to her, I said to her, listen, we both took a risk in this situation. The risk is I could have held my cards and found someone to replace you on the back end and given you 2 weeks notice and paid you. And that was in my right as the employer to do. So I didn't do that. And the risk I'm taking is you're going to find a job tomorrow, which you did. And in the risk you're taking is that potentially you're still on the job hunt in month 4. But we both had to take a risk in order for this transparency to work. And I think that, at the end of the day, she did have a job. And if she was still in job hunting in month 4, it's like, yeah, if I didn't have a new person, I might have kept her on for another couple of weeks. She would have been eligible for EI. Like, I was ending her position. Like, there was all this kind of stuff. I could continue to support her, but that support wasn't going to be through employment.
It's a genuine interest, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We genuinely care, and we worked. This situation wasn't working for either of us in the long term. So let's just create a win-win. And I did take more of the, this played out that my risk was bigger because she got a job right away, but maybe her risk would have been bigger and I would have just found someone, she would have trained them for a month, and my life would have been way easier than the 3 months it took me to get things sorted. But I prepared for it.
Any other questions? Anybody else have any questions?
Just about, yes, for curiosity, when you said when you're about to fire someone, like don't tell them you're fired. Yeah, there's a proper way to say it.
Yeah.
What could that be?
Oh, so I guess in the situation when I was joking about don't do it again or you're fired, that's too informal for that conversation. So if you are at the point where someone's behavior may lead them to being terminated because they're not doing what they're supposed to do, or they're drinking before a client event or something really extreme, you need to sit down with them in a very formal meeting, and that does need to be on paper. That on this day you did these things were wrong. I told you don't do it again. You were spoken to, very formal. You were spoken to about your behavior. It said to you not to do it again. There was another client meeting on this date at this location. You showed up. You admitted you went out drinking the night before and were unprepared for that client. Again, we lost the business, or we almost lost the business. It doesn't matter even if you won the business. Therefore, you were warned, and then therefore this is your final warning. If you show up unprepared to a client meeting again, you may be fired. That's a letter. So it's just when I was kind of joking, like, don't do it again or you're fired. Those conversations they have to be formal, and because they're very serious. You're taking someone's job away. It can't be, it has to be very formal. And they have to have an opportunity to know that their job is on the line, that their job is at risk. They have to know that, and that's why a piece of paper, they sign it, that they understand, you sign it, that you give it to them, it lives in their file, and then if they do it again, it gets pulled out and then another letter that says, on this date, we talked about this, you were told if this happened again, and then on this date, it did happen again, therefore we are terminating your employment, and then you'd get into some legal stuff that is different in every single country, so the rest of the letter would be particular to your country and your situation.
In that way, is not an appropriate word to say you're going to be fired.
We don't say fired.
It's What's the question?
In North America, yeah, the translation, we say termination of employment, and in fact, there's two legal terms. There's without cause, which means they kind of just aren't working out. So maybe you're junior person, now you need to hire a senior person. You know, the girl that I let go, like, she just wasn't working out. It wasn't her fault. And then there's termination with cause, which is a very legal definition, which means you stole, you did something very bad, and in that case, you're not eligible for things like severance or notice or employment insurance. So it's a pretty big deal to fire someone or to terminate someone with cause. Generally, we advise, your HR person will usually advise against it. You can terminate them still, get them out of your company, just do it a little bit nicer, give them a little bit of money so they can get back on their feet while they look for a new job. Keep that relationship a little bit more positive, because you terminate them with cause, don't give them any money, they can't get employment insurance because they were terminated with cause, and then therefore they can come back and sue you. Angry employees sue, happy employees don't. So keep your employees, whether they are good or bad, like even when you're letting them go, if they're happy and you treat them like a human, it's like about compassion and understanding they have no job anymore. Whether they were dumb and got drunk the night before and you told them not to or not, they have no job anymore. They have bills to pay and you're taking away their job. So that's pretty harsh, and in some cases it's deserved. But you probably get a better response and they'll go away quicker if you just say, hey, we talked about this is over, but you get EI, because I'm going to say it's without cause. I'm giving you 2 weeks notice, I'm giving you your bonus or whatever I'm giving you that you're owed. I'm not giving you extra because you did something bad, but I'm giving you what you're owed. I'm trying to be a good human. I'll help you with your next job. I'll give you a good reference, but you're not working in my company anymore. And that scenario gets you the same thing. They're gone, and they'll probably won't email you back. This scenario, I tell you, they email you again and again and again. They argue, it's unfair, I want my job back. It's like, I don't want to work with you. But I took away your job, I didn't leave you with anything. You're desperate now. And so you're my problem again. This, spend a little money, sign a piece of paper, you go your way, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank God someone's fired someone in Canada.
I think it's a good practice. So it's like a good practice.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I would definitely say, like, as business owners, firing and all this legal stuff, don't do it alone. Even HR people, like, even as an HR professional, I have 3 lawyers on speed. Like, I know 3 legal, like, employment lawyers in the city that I would call if I was working with a client before tackling some big issues. I would, like, if I was firing someone for, like, sexual harassment or something, I would 100% call my lawyer first. And I'd be getting them to write the contract. I'd be getting them to tell me what to say. I'd be getting them to tell me what not to say. And I'm an HR professional. And I'm still going to talk to a lawyer. I'll fire someone who shows up drunk to a meeting, whatever. Like, I know how to do that. But if you don't know how to do that, find an HR person to do it for you. There's so many people, like, there's so many consultants. Like, I've done things for $100. I've gone in and, like, done a meeting for somebody, an entrepreneur I know. Takes me 2 minutes.
The big deal for us as an immigrant is not put the real point as like a point, or no be rude. Like, if I say fire, it's going to be rude. If I just say another words, maybe I'm not so clear. And my employee cannot understand properly my message. This is the big deal. Okay.
Absolutely, yeah. And anyone who's going to have not English as their first language is going to struggle, whether they're Canadian or not. I would just say, just when it comes down to legal stuff and really serious matters, your word choice do matter, and it does affect the outcome of the situation. So just get someone. The great news is you probably just need someone who speaks English natively, and they can probably be like, don't say fire, that's harsh and rude. They can probably change that for you. You might not even need a lawyer. So engage in your network, send Paul an email, and send your communication teacher an email. Is this the right thing to say? But your words do matter, and definitely when dealing with people and good communication with people, sometimes I worked in a company where our head office was in Montreal, so all my colleagues were French. They didn't speak English as their first language, so sometimes my boss would say things, I'd be like, oh, she's like so mad at me. But it's like she's not mad at me. Her vocabulary was less than mine. So she's trying to choose words to be clear, and her words just weren't as soft or flowery or able to make a sentence this long. She was just like this. And so sometimes when I was junior, my first job, I'm like, oh, she's so mad at me. Now I just know.
It just comes across a lot more direct, but it's not meant to be harsh. To give you guys an idea, like in my 20 years and 40 some odd employees, through all my companies, I've only terminated with cause once. And in that case, just to get them to go away, we still gave them 2 weeks severance.
Right.
So just like, okay, here, get out of here and leave us alone. So, yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, legal stuff, it's a whole other area that I'm super interested in, so I could talk all night about legal stuff.
And you're not going to be comfortable doing that, because if you're getting comfortable doing that, you're not a human being. So a night before, I used to fight a lot of people in Brazil with different reasons, and every single night before, I could not sleep because we were changing
it's true.
their
Mhm.
lives, their families.
And
Yeah.
after as well.
Yeah, so
The day after is complicated as well.
you know that you're doing the best thing for your company, but you're changing a life or a
Yeah.
family.
So just be human about it. That's
You're
the-
changing in the company too, right?
Absolutely.
Like the people in the company, all of a sudden there's this weird kind of energy sometimes
for
the next
sure.
day. And
That's a whole
you have
other
to
culture
kinda deal
conversation
with
about
that,
when
right?
people get fired and how do you communicate that and how, like, that's a whole lecture in itself. For
Some
sure.
people are really good at it, like Donald Trump.
Yeah. Just don't do what Donald Trump does.
But
and
to
you'll be fine.
Bruno's point,
I used to,
yeah,
I used to lose one day before, one day after.
Yeah,
yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard.
Trump
I
is
finished
evil.
a contract with the guy that hired me, because after some years I become his boss,
Oh,
and I had to finish.
oh, I see. You ended the contract.
And
Yeah.
I'm a friend of him till today, but it was hard to me because he hired me.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Any last questions? I think it's, what is it now? It's, 10 after. Maybe one more quick one? I'll get Charlyne out of here a quarter after. Any more quick questions, I think? Okay, cool.
Well, you can definitely go ahead and share my email with the class. So it's my Lighthouse Labs email, but just easier to send it there. And if you have any questions, I'd love to answer it. Or good luck with everything, guys. I wish we had more time. I wanted to kind of go around and hear what everyone was doing. But if you do a pitch night or something, I'd love to come back and see.
Well, we're pitching on Thursday, so.
Oh, okay.
Right to Katerina, if you wanted to pop by.
Maybe we'll see. Let's look at the.
I mentioned it several times through the course. You can't act surprised. What?
Good luck at your pitches. Katerina's lovely. I'm sure you'll all do very well. And yeah, send me any questions you have.
Cool.
Thanks
Awesome.
for having
Thank
me,
you.
guys. I really appreciate it.